Where's the packet?
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt. Roll blunt, smoking bird out of weed.
Smoke
Weed, smoke
marijuana.
Roll blunt, smoking bird out of weed.
Smoke
Weed, smoke
marijuana.
All you do is smoke pot and watch TV all day.
Smoke dope.
Marijuana hash.
Marijuana.
All you do is smoke pot and watch TV all day.
Smoking hash.
Blunt, marijuana.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
But if you're growing cannabis, you need to take certain precautions. Don't tell anyone.
Go to a copper and ask him for a light for their split.
I'm a joker and I'm a smoker. Bag of weed. Weed, smoke
Marijuana.
All you do is smoke pot and watch TV.
I'm a
Smoking hash.
blunt, marijuana.
I am smoking grass from Jupiter. Here's a really good joint, Jupiter.
Weed, roll blunt, smoking bird out of weed. Weed, smoke
Marijuana.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Weed, cause I got it going on.
All you do is smoke.
You smoke a lot of dope.
Bag of weed. Weed,
The burning of incense could be used to mask the smoking of cannabis resin.
smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
What about his pupils? They're sluggish and dilated.
That's because you just smoked a joint.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Can I buy some pot from you?
Weed, smoke
Marijuana.
Who's joint the best joints in town? Make it never come down.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Go to a copper and ask him for a light for their split.
Never even smoked a cigarette.
Smoke blunt, smoking bird out of weed.
We don't know where we could score on some good grants, do we? Being a pot smoker.
Watch TV all day.
Smoking hash.
Blunt, marijuana.
Tell me, this is grass. You mean marijuana?
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Smoke some weed.
I only smoke blunt if they roll prop blunt.
Smoke some weed.
I only
Smoking hash.
blunt, marijuana.
Weed, cause I got it going on.
I don't know.
What do you think now?
The marijuana song.
Yeah, man. Yeah. This is going to be a #1 hit. It's miles better than the Lino song.
This is a song about the no smoking ban. We had a no smoking ban in Australia, but we changed it. They just had a no smoking ban here in Ireland. Down in Australia, had to change the rules. All the kids were getting busted, smoking drugs in school. We couldn't have our young politicians growing up with drug convictions pulled. Just change the rules. Smoking that marijuana. Australiana. Saving them pills, cheaper than booze, and get you like a bent banana. Smoking that marijuana. Australiana. Saving them pills, saving them booze, you can buy it from your local farmer. 1, 2. Down in Tasmania, that's where I come from. Galactose growing poppies everywhere, and we're all on the opium. Up there in Sydney, that's the gay community. They're having a real gay time, cause they're all on the ecstasy. And up there in Queensland, think they've got the class. Look out their back garden, they're all growing grass, smoking that marijuana. Australiana, saving them pills, saving them booze, get you like a bent banana, smoking that marijuana. Australiana, saving them pills, saving them booze, you can buy it from your local farmer. Over here in Europe, that's a bloody joke. They tell us all what to do and they're all snorting coke. Absolutely. It's legal in Holland. It's legal in Switzerland. When I was smoking in Deutschland, they just didn't give a damn. Over there in England, They've got the Union Jack, bunch of bloody know-it-alls, and they're all smoking crack, smoking it. Marijuana, Australiana, saving them pills, saving them booze, to get you like a bent banana, smoking it. Marijuana, Australiana, saving them pills, saving them booze, you can buy from your local farmer. Over here in Ireland, Catholic Church has got the cash. No one really gives a toss, they're too busy smoking hash. What about the Americans? Hey, what about the Americans?
Connecticut!
What about the Americans? They turned into monks. They lost the war in Vietnam and they've lost the war on drugs. So spread the word about the herbs of herb. Go outside, plant a few seeds, grow a few weeds, and let's get high. Marijuana, Australiana, saving them pills, giving them booze, you get like a big banana, smoking it. Marijuana, Australiana, saving them pills, giving them booze, you get like a big banana.
Videos that go with them.
Hey, we're here, Craig Lee, the Hemp Museum.
Yes, sir. Hey, look here. This is a piece of shingle that's made from hemp fibers. You see them in the end of it here. You get up close enough, you can see little hemp fibers. But it's just as good as asbestos, better than asbestos fibers, you know, of the past. But this shingle right here is recyclable. And what makes this shingle unique is for the simple reason of shingling houses. We need shingle roofs to be able to, so they can be recycled as they're taking off people's homes.
What kind of guarantee would come with that?
This guarantee right here come with 50 years out of Canada when they were making it. I'm sure that they're still in business. Hopefully they are. You know, this has been several years ago, and they tried markets here in America because the hemp industry didn't kick off, you know. One of the houses, I put this on a house that was on the Indian reservation out in Pine Ridge. It was built about 60% of hemp, and these shingles was shingled on that whole house. It was a real nice roof. Of course, out there they have lots of hailstorms, hard rains, you know, and hot temperatures, you know, dry temperatures. But you know, all in all, it's a pretty good roof. Seems durable. 50-year warranty. Beats what they.
Yeah, you can 30 years was best you get at Home Depot.
And for the kids playing outside, here's a little frisbee. This is about 30% hemp. The rest is polymers, plastic. But it conforms together good, you know. It's no more than using fibers that come from
just to hold it together.
Plastic, yeah. You know, just use the plastic to hold the fibers together. That's basically about it. That's a good frisbee. Flies. This here is a car piece. This is a Chevrolet Lumina armrest. This was researched and up in Detroit back several years ago with the Kennex people up there. It's about 30 to 40% fibers, and the rest of it's polypropylenes to hold the shape together, you know. These parts right here can be recycled, and that's what the car industry is going to have to go to sooner or later, you know, is recycled parts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Here we have a particle board. Right here's the particle board with hemp herds, the center part of the plant, which I'll show you in a minute. You can see it's little bitty woody parts. It's glued together. Yeah.
It's like a particle board, the same thing.
Yeah, particle board would be the same thing. Yeah.
How do you feel about GM?
And this is a hemp stalk right here. This is a hemp stalk with the fibers on the outside of it, and you can see the woody part on the inside. This today would be used in either car parts in this fashion right here, which is these are parts
like that insulation.
Parts that's made for insulation, different things up in this out of Elkhart, Indiana. But those fibers would be on the outside, would go into like the product I just showed you. Let's get these fibers right here. These outside fibers.
That's what they would make carpet out of too, wouldn't it?
Or you could take the whole stalk, and this is the industry for today. The industry basically for today for this stalk would be for cellulose for ethanol. Because this plant right here is about 80 to 90% cellulose using the hemicellulose on the outside and the herd, which is the cellulose on the inside. The two together would probably be about 85% cellulose. And so growing this crop for cellulose, there's switchgrass and different things like that are being looked into now for different ethanol type fuels. And they have to grow in a longer distance, which this one right here I think can grow in 90 days to help the farmer out, you know. And if we can grow it to its maturity and pull the oil off of it and use biodiesel, which is a big problem in our pollution standards today, is the diesel fuel that's being burnt. So we can come up with biodiesel and cellulose for ethanol from the same plant, then we're a winner in today's society, especially for the farmer. You know, and I think any of these agricultural crops that we're going to have to grow for fuels, the farmer's going to have to make some money off of them, or he's not going to grow them. And all this talk and everything about a green economy and us growing it will not work. It's got to help the farmer on the start, or it won't work.
Yeah, the farmer ain't making money.
The farmer's not making any money at the bottom end. It doesn't matter how much we try. It doesn't matter what kind of crop we grow. The farmer is not going to jump on this.
He ain't going to take money out of his pocket.
Right. So the thing about it is he's already taking money out of his pocket to some degree to be farming this day and time with the way prices are, you know, and fuel costs. So if the farmer can save his carbon footprint by growing biodiesel fuel, the seed from this plant right here, and then having it refined in some way close to his farm and developing biodiesel, where next year he's got the amount of fuel it's going to take him to run his tractors, he's making money. He's making money there not only in his biodiesel and saving the carbon footprint and supplying his own fuel. He's also making money because of the sales and the commodities he's got from seed stock and from the stalks for fuel. And so, you know, I've talked to several people about these crops for agriculture and for green energy and for cellulose, and the farmer doesn't make any money off of it. It doesn't matter what we grow.
What we got in that bottle over there? Something to drink?
Okay. This bottle right here is hemp oil, and it's the oil after the seed. This is the seed cake. You can see it right here. Let me get it out of here so you can see it in my hand. You see it a lot better. This is the seed cake. You can see how fine it is after it's been extruded. These are the seed. I mean, this is the seed cake after the oil. Yeah, after the oil has been extruded. And here's the oil. This was sent to me out of Canada. Yeah. And this oil right here is industrial grade oil. This oil would be used for biofuels. And so, since the industry in the varieties and DNAs of the seed, we have seed for food, which is a high standard of.
You don't smoke marijuana, then come on down.
It's a high standard of oil that they have worked on in seed varieties for food, and they have varieties that's also not as high in some of the food aspects, like the omega-6s and omega-3s that's found in food source hemp oil, as it would be this industrial grade. So they do have different varieties, and I think some of the varieties that we'd like to look into here in Kentucky is varieties for industrial grade, because let Canada go ahead and explore the food oil business, and then we can gradually get into that later. You know, I think here in Kentucky especially, you know, our old history goes back that we're a seed producing state for the rest of the states. So one of my main pushes is to be able to show the legislatures here that, hey, we don't have to grow it for all these things that I've showed you before. We can grow it for seed certification, and that's enough. The farmer can make some money off that, and that's something he totally understands. Let all the other states in the union pass their bills. Let them pass their bills to grow hemp. We need to get ours bill passed. We just need to act upon it and start growing seed varieties, start supplying these other states like North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Hawaii, all these other states that's coming out. And after we supply the seed to them for certified seed, we can come back and harvest the stalk and fill up our cellulose base for ethanol. You know, so we've got 2 things or 3 things going for us as being Kentuckians, you know, that other states don't have the opportunity to. And if we don't take the chance of this opportunity and go forward with it, then we lose as a state, and the nation loses as well. Because the rest of the states could get seed from us as they would have to go across in foreign countries and get their seed, like France, Germany, England, you know. They get seed right here in America and know what they're dealing with, yeah.
Hey, what's your contact information so people?
You'd contact me at my email at clrebel56@yahoo.com, or you can call me at 270-469-8506. I'm retired. It's hard to get me to do a few things, but if you give me a call or email me, I'll see what I can do for you.
Hey, yeah. Thanks for showing me around.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's all right. This right here is made from hemp cork too. You know, that came from Eric Steenstra. Eric Steenstra is a lobbyist. He's a lobbyist up in Washington. You know, he'd love to see that. He's done seen it once before. Yeah.
Just him. Shouldn't be a crime.
Oh, yeah.
People who use a plant shouldn't be in jail. Unless they're trying to hurt you with poison ivy. I give up. That right there, one plant. If any plant in the world should be illegal, poison ivy.
Yeah.
This plant hurts people almost every day.
I have some right now.
I remember itching so bad with poison ivy that I wished I had some marijuana. What is wrong with this place? We've got to change our world, people.
Yeah.
I think we're getting ready to march here. Everybody, come on, gather around and let's march. Get your signs. Our motto is no pot, no peace. No pot, no peace. The answer to cancer. The solution to pollution. No pot, no peace.
I'd rather pay taxes.
I'd rather pay taxes than be treated like a criminal.
Yep.
Do you know how much money can be made from taxing marijuana?
A
And I'm just talking about the recreational use. Consider this, if farmers were growing hemp and all the products that we could make cars out of hemp and we could tax those. We could tax everything made out of hemp. That sounds terrible, actually.
Boo on taxes, boo on regulations, boo on hurry up writing that bill.
I'd rather pay taxes on hemp than on my income. There's no basis for an income tax, but there's a little bit of a basis for a hemp tax. Except for the medicine. I don't think we should tax medicine. No. And all marijuana use is medical. We'll all follow behind him, chanting numerous things like no pot, no peace. Stop arresting patients for medical marijuana. Hemp can save the world. Marijuana is the answer to cancer and the solution for pollution. Among others that we haven't made up yet.
Yes, we cannabis.
Yes, we cannabis. You know who coined that phrase? That was Homer Simpson. He said, yes, I cannabis. Can I? Yes, I cannabis. So here we come, Paducah. Roll up the shades and bring out your pipes. We're about to march by your door shouting, legalize marijuana.
All right, I want to tell you all how proud I am for you standing. You're not just here for yourselves, but you're here for people that couldn't be here today. There's a lot of people at home that are sick, probably going to want to see this on YouTube or something. And you're really the brave, you're the true patriots of the movement. And we couldn't do it without you. It's small groups of people are what always get it done. And I'm proud as pie to be serving our nation in this manner. This is how you give the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights life. The Constitution in the United States, they're just pieces of paper and they don't live. You can only give it life when you stand and demand your rights as a tax-paying citizen, as we are here today in Dolly McNutt Park. I'm very honored to be with you. God bless us all. Keep us safe. And let's hear our battle cry.
Simplify. Wait, simplify.
It's hard for a bunch of people to get stoned and scream and yell and stuff, so you'll have to bear with us as we kind of whisper and open our memory pathways. Even though we can't smoke pot, doesn't mean we can't talk about it, sing about it, and march about it. So here we go.
And they're off. Oh, let's hear it for pot. Anybody here smoke weed? Yeah! Oh.
Legalize! Patients, not prisoners!
Yes! We're old. We're old.
We need rights for medical. I'm living proof of what medical marijuana can do. I don't eat if I don't have it. From where the FDA puts these drugs out here with stricter laws. We need our rights.
Arms to do a march because the police
instead of being put over here in this place and giving them our money, the place wouldn't be crowded.
Reverse ignorant law.
Retarded laws.
No more medical.
Constitutional laws. Yes, we want our rights. Get back in the Constitution. Yeah. Sure was the back.
Hey, ho, ho! Marijuana laws got to go!
Hey!
Marijuana laws have got to go!
In the Prohibition! Marijuana laws got to go!
Spread it out, y'all. If we spread out, it makes us look like we're a bigger crowd.
Yeah. We need that.
Hey!
Here
my lawyer, Will Council.
You're gonna get my ass if you keep walking back there.
They defend the marijuana smokers and the alcoholics in this area. You go, Bryant Law Center, we love you. Defenders of the true patriot. Reverse your ignorant laws.
Yeah.
I'm not a criminal.
Learn to read.
Stay out of Newsweek magazine. As the worst city for asset forfeiture for marijuana in the nation. How disgraceful. Take 38 cents out of a man's pocket for a roach and call that asset forfeiture.
Hey, man, that's disgusting.
Really, they were listed in Newsweek magazine
That is
as
sad.
the worst city in the nation. I was reading about the reverse sting, where they were asking people if they wanted to buy good pot. They're like, yeah, and then they sell you a bag and they arrest you with it while you're standing there. Isn't that something? The reverse sting. It also works like someone walks up to you and says, hey man, you got a paper? It's like, yeah, I think I got a paper in here. Hold on. Hand them a paper and then you get paper for handing them a paper.
No pot.
Paraphernalia charge.
No peace.
No pot. No peace.
Legalize it.
Go to the park.
Pull over.
Dolly McNutt. They're going to the park. Now we're passing up here by this church. One year we came through here and a girl was having a wedding. And she was in her best dress in white, you know. And her dad looked at it, he was going, you know. And as soon as Daddy walked back to the church, she looked at us all and went,
Bring the flag, bring the people, that's it.
Dad was pissed when we come marching to his wedding like that.
We don't even care to pay taxes on it.
In Prohibition, Kentucky.
What are they doing?
In the
No pot, no peace, no pot, no peace,
No pot. No peace.
No pot, no police.
no pot, no peace.
No pot, K-N-O-W. No peace, K-N-O-W. It's kind of like a double meaning. It's kind of like...
No pot, no peace, no pot, no peace, no pot, no peace, no pot, no peace, no pot, no peace.
Pot is good.
No pot.
No peace. Mom, get out of your chair.
Legalize marijuana
And get high tonight.
Legalize it! Legalize it!
Hey, there's more.
Not as far as fast.
Yeah, they got. If they have it, they will.
No pot, no peace, 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 no pot, no peace.
Do it when there's P cars there and you don't wear out his back. We ran in this corner one time and there was the Catholic Church.
Stop the madness now.
Legalization's really.
Legalize it and get high tonight. Woo! Free the weed.
That's right, and the more regulation and taxation they get, the more people will still go to
In the war!
In the war! Let's not say legalize, let's say in prohibition.
Don't fill up the
Yeah,
jails,
let's say
fill up the
re-
bongs.
Or yeah, that really.
I never did.
Legalize it!
I like it too.
Legalize marijuana!
Yeah. 30s.
Right. We legalize cannabis!
your Bible. Every living plant that bears a seed is to be used for food and meat. Fuel, fiber, clothing.
Stop drug testing!
Every need of man.
Drug
The entire world.
for losers!
Save industrial hemp.
If we're gonna drug test, let's drug test politicians. Let's drug test judges. Let's drug test the police department.
Drug testing.
Drug test the UN.
Drug testing should only be done to determine quality.
I agree. In the war.
Drug testing should be a way to determine quality.
Let's drug test our politicians.
Legalize marijuana.
Let's drug test our judges. Let's drug test our police department. If we're going to drug test people for jobs, let's drug test the people making those laws.
Jesus smoked marijuana.
What does that say?
And he wore robes made of marijuana.
And he used holy anointing oil, which was made from marijuana.
Amen.
Jesus was a pothead.
Read Exodus.
Educate, don't incarcerate. Educate, don't incarcerate.
Educate, don't incarcerate. No peace. No what? No peace. No what? No peace. No what? No peace. No what?
No peace.
No what? No peace. No what? No what?
No pot, no peace.
People just want to be free. Educate, don't incarcerate.
And
The
alcohol.
government is dumb when it comes to
Our Constitution, legalize it.
And
You idiots.
Legalize it.
No, you can't call them.
No peace. No peace. No peace. We're made. No peace. No what? No peace. No what? No peace. No what? No peace. Are not politically correct. No peace. No pot, no peace. Jesus' robes were made from cannabis.
Thank you. Bless you.
The Constitution was written on cannabis. The first Bible was written on cannabis. We're down at the park.
The library has marijuana. You should be able to check out marijuana.
Re-legalize marijuana. Re-legalize hemp. Educate, don't eradicate. Educate, don't eradicate. Help the small farmer out. Legalize industrial hemp. Re-legalize industrial hemp. How about that? Challenge the laws at their constitutional base, people. Who gave man the right to outlaw plants? How crazy is that? How come we haven't outlawed poison ivy yet? If we're going to outlaw plants, I vote we outlaw poison ivy. can't think of one medical use for poison ivy. Am I wrong?
I can't think of it.
I don't think there's one medical use for poison ivy. I think we can legalize, or we can make it illegal and trade it out for cannabis. We should be able to make a trade, don't you think? Yeah, legalize cannabis! Re-legalize, people. You don't want to legalize, you want to re-legalize.
Marijuana. I love it.
Do away with all those laws that made it illegal to begin with. I'm coming, baby.
Hello, welcome to the Kentucky Marijuana March. I'd like to introduce the stage right now, Reverend Mary Spears. Thank you, thank you. Wow, this is my first time in Paducah, and because of that, I guess I'm going to start by kind of filling people in here on who I am. I'm a patient here in Kentucky. I was arrested originally the first time as a patient in 1995 here in Kentucky. They came into my house without search warrants, and they had warrants for my arrest for trafficking in marijuana. I was charged with, it started out like 6 felonies, then it was 4 felonies. Before it was over, I ended up with 1 felony. I'm gonna tell you how I did that, and I hope you'll listen. First of all, I never denied the fact that I used marijuana. Never once did I lie to the police about it. Okay, I was very honest about my use. Secondly, I did ask for search warrants. They didn't have them and said they didn't need them. And they threatened to tear my house apart. I handed them what I had, but they continued to search my home anyway. When we went to court, I said, and they're saying you can't fight this as a patient because it's for trafficking. And I said, but the guy came to me as a minister, and I had a ministry at the time, and he said, I'm a cancer patient. And I said, I think you're a rat. And 4 times I told him I thought he was a rat. And every time he denied it, and he cried, and he begged, and he asked for my help. I ministered to this man for more than a month before I ever gave him cannabis, okay? And I gave him a lot of other means to go about treating his illness in a holistic manner. Everything from meditation to other herbs. But that didn't matter to them. What mattered to them was that I had gotten him cannabis, and so I was arrested and charged with felonies. Okay? When we got to court, we did manage to get a medical argument in the courtroom. It took us, well, in the beginning, they tried to say I was nuts. I had a court-appointed attorney in the beginning of the thing. It looked really like I was going to be railroaded throughout the whole thing. And I said to a friend of mine at one point, I said, you know, if I had the money, I would hire Gatewood Galbraith, and he would be my lawyer. And a friend of mine said, you know what? I know him. My mom used to work with him, and he's a pretty down-to-earth guy. And if you call him and explain your situation, maybe he'll represent you. So I figured, what do I have to lose? I'm going down anyway if I don't call the man. So I called him, and much to my surprise, he answered the phone. I thought it would be his secretary. But no, he answered the phone, and I figured I had a few short minutes to convince this man he had to represent me with no money. You know, so I told him, I said, I'm a single mother. I was told for 12 years that I have multiple sclerosis. I have open-angle glaucoma. And I'm trying to raise my son on $400 a month disability. You know, and I said, and I have a ministry, and this man came and asked me for help, and I tried to help him, and I would have given the man the cannabis if I could have. But raising a child on $400 a month disability, how do you give your medicine away? You know, so one of the things we fought this case on was the fact that disability did not pay for my medicine, long less pay me enough that I could pay for his medicine. You know, but not only that, we fought it on the fact that marijuana has never been illegal. Okay? It's not an illegal substance. It is a tax-prohibited substance, which means that I was never given the chance to pay my taxes in the first place. So we went into court from that perspective, that first of all, marijuana is illegal, it is tax prohibited. Secondly, I was never given a chance to pay my taxes. I want to tell you that I spent 8 years in court, and during that time, I told them I would never pass one of their drug tests for marijuana. I told that straight to the judge. I told him, look, if you're going to waste these people's money, if you want to lock me up, don't waste their money drug testing me. Lock me up now. Because I will never pass one of your tests. I refuse to. I'll pass it for any drug you want to test me for. I will never pass it for THC. In 8 years, I never passed one of those tests. I flunked every test they gave me, and they tested me over 100 times. They tried to revoke me 3-4 times, and I was turned back loose. Why? Because we stood on the medical evidence and the medical science that said I'm a patient, that said that man came to me as a patient. Medical evidence and science says that cannabis is a medicine, and the courts cannot dispute that. If you go into court against them as a patient and you cover them up in that evidence, they will be there for 8 years trying to sort it out.
Sorry, change it? No. Got 1 minute.
Not only that, Gatewood warned them, don't ever put her on the stand. Don't ever have her testify as to what addiction is. Because why? Because I never lied about being an addict. I'm an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I was raised to be. I don't know anybody that wasn't. Consumerism, to consume, is the American way. It is what you are taught from birth till the time you die. It's what they feed you. They spoon feed it to you from the day you're born. Addiction is about supply and demand. They're not against addiction. If they were, ibogaine would be legal in this country, and it's not. As I was saying, ibogaine cures addiction, okay, and it's illegal in the United States, and they made it illegal because they don't want you to be cured of your addiction. They want to be the only drug dealers in America. That's what they want. They want to be the ones selling you your drug. Right now, and I forgot to bring it with me, but it's in the car over here, and I can go get it, my bottle of Marinol. You know, it's a man-made THC. So it's not that they're against you having it. They just want to be the ones supplying you with it, okay? It's $350 for 30 pills. Okay? That's what this drug war is about. It's about the money. And that's all it's ever been about. All right? And their man-made THC is not nearly as good as the real thing. Because even though they think they're gods, because somehow they think they got the power to outlaw plants, so even though they think they're gods and they think they can make THC themselves, they're not as good as the real thing. And I know, I've used both. I can say the Marinol does help ease my muscle spasms. It does help my nausea. It helps my vomiting. It increases my appetite. It helps with my glaucoma. It does help these things. But it doesn't do nothing for my pain. Absolutely nothing for my pain. I want to tell you all about the cure from Rick Simpson, and I'm sure you're going to hear about this from a lot of people. Okay, but I was diagnosed with cancer in my uterus about 14 years ago, and then about 7 years ago I was diagnosed with cancer in my throat, and I went through throat cancer surgery. During that time they told me they would probably have to remove my vocal cords. Okay, now when they got in there they found that mass had stopped its growth right before it taken out my vocal cords. And I attributed it to all the pot I smoke. I told the doctor it has to be the pot, you know. And they told me, you know, I agree with you, you know. But during that throat cancer surgery, they found cancer in my lower left lung. That was 5 years ago. Most people die of lung cancer in 5 years. Okay? If you don't believe me, look it up. But I kept using my medicine. I kept smoking it if I had to, because I don't have a volcano, so I can't vaporize it. I can't afford a volcano, okay? But I tried to get enough of it that I could cook it down into oil or make butter or consume it. But when you live off the income that I live off of, well, that's a little hard to do. And when you got to buy it off the black market, well, you know, you're lucky to get what you can get, so it's hard to consume it in food all the time. So I just used it as I could until about November. In November, a friend of mine introduced me to the cure. Okay? This is the cure. Or maybe it's not. It might be molasses. We don't know. All right? But when I started taking it, I could not breathe. My lungs felt like they were full of cement. I was using a cane to walk around because of my SMS. My body trembled constantly, and I've got a little bit of a quake today, but I haven't medicated much today. And I didn't really eat breakfast this morning either, which is probably not good. But since I've been taking this, I can breathe. Not only can I breathe deeply, but you don't hear it like you used to, because I used to wheeze really badly, you know. And not only can I breathe deeply, but I don't feel the pain down here that I used to feel. And I used to feel like I had a hole here where the air was just going through my body, and I don't feel that anymore. And most of the time, I don't feel this tremor, this quake that runs through my body anymore. And most of the time, I feel really healthy and like a whole new person again. Now, this cure, they told me, was made specifically to treat my lung cancer. And that we all know that different strains of marijuana treat different illnesses. And they said they didn't know how it would do on my SMS or my glaucoma. We just find out. But it did help my muscle spasms, and it did help ease this earthquake within my body, and I have been able to get around much better. So I would tell anyone, I would advocate anyone that if they can use the cure, they need to be using it. And if you can't make it the way it shows you how to make it in this video, you can make it in a crock pot with an olive oil base. And it will take you a little bit longer because you have to break the cannabis down in the pot slowly. And you're going to have to try to shove a whole pound of cannabis into a crock pot, which is not easy to do. Okay? But if you will do it slowly over about 3-4 days, you can get it in there. And that oil in that pot will be the equal medicine to what's in this video. It would be it'll take you a little bit longer to consume it because it'll be a little bit not as concentrated, okay? More oil. So it'll take you longer to consume the medicine than you would be if you took it this way. But it's the same medicine, okay? So if y'all can get this medicine, you need to be taking it. If you know anybody who's got cancer, AIDS, hepatitis, diabetes, they've been curing people with brain cancer. Brain cancer will kill you in a month, man. And they're curing people with this. You know, so I would advise anybody to get this and take this. I also want to tell y'all, don't legalize, re-legalize. Man, look at the laws, look at the states with legalization. People are going to federal prison, man. That's not an improvement. That is not an improvement. I don't care what y'all think. Remove the laws that made it illegal to begin with. Take those laws away. Don't pass more laws. Challenge the laws. Take them away. All right. I love everybody here. Look at diversesanctuary.ning.com. That's my main site now. You also find me at Reverend Mary on MySpace, The Web of Life, Stop the Ignorance, Designing Your World. You punch any of that into the computer, you're going to find me.
Thank you, Mary. Very inspirational words for us today. Well, we just had one reverend, and we're going to bring up another one now. This one's probably a little bit different than any reverend you've ever seen before. Let me bring to the stage and give a warm welcome, show some love to Reverend Rolland A. Duby.
Woo-hoo! Legalize pot, Paducah!
Yes, oh yes. Yes, Brian. Yes. Oh, tighter. Tighter. Oh, that's perfect.
All right, my name's Rolland A. Duby. That's spelled with an R and other letters. I smoke marijuana. I smoke a lot of marijuana. I smoke so much marijuana, I sweat hash oil. I can't even go play basketball because people are trying to scrape the hash oil off me. Just take a knife hit. I smoke so much marijuana, I gave my doctor a urine sample and he got busted for possession. Twice. I smoke a lot of pot. I smoke so much pot, my girlfriend said that I smoke too much pot and I should get a hobby. So I learned hydroponics. I've been curing people with marijuana, people that are dying. And this is no joke. In the last year, I have cured, I haven't done it, marijuana did it. I just got them the pot. Did I just admit to getting people pot? Yeah. All right, I did it. I got people marijuana. I even turned it into oil for those people. And now they're still alive when they should be dead because of medicine.
You know, doctors and pharmaceuticals and radiation and chemotherapy. It's all terrible stuff. What the hell are you telling me? Just say it.
Let go of the microphone and cause noise.
Okay.
Now dance! Dance!
Now I'm free. I can put my hands up and I can say, legalize pot! Marijuana never killed anybody. The only people that ever died from marijuana were shot by a cop. Or hung from a hemp rope. I've been all over this, what do you call it, a country. I don't like calling America a country anymore. You know, they've tricked us in America. Did y'all know that? There's actually 2 Americas now. There's a corporation titled the United States of America. And it's a corporation. And they've given everybody the right to give up your inalienable rights and join the corporation and get your social security number that proves that you're a citizen of the corporate United States of America. But this country is called America. And if you say the United States of America, the word united should not be capitalized. So if you see the word united capitalized, you know that's a friggin' trick. It's a scam. You're joining a corporation and then you give up your rights. You know, we have the right to smoke marijuana right now. If we weren't members of the corporation, which I'm not, I gave up my social security number, sent it back to Secretary of State, certified mail, return receipt requested. What? Comedy? You want me to tell jokes? I want to educate people. We can laugh later when we're smoking a joint in my car. We've got to change the world. Obama said it the other day. He said that there's going to be a cure for cancer in his administration. Well, by God, I have the cure for cancer. I've cured over 150 people using this stuff. Hash oil. We've called it hash oil for years. I used to smoke this stuff for hours and hours and hours until the wall was melting. But now I know you got to eat it. If you don't eat it, it doesn't really work. You got to eat it and it'll cure cancer. It reverses Alzheimer's disease. It cures glaucoma. It cures cancer. It'll take a mole or a wart right off of you without leaving a scar. Woo! Diabetes gets normalized. Your cholesterol levels become normal. Everything becomes normal. Marijuana oil is 99% of what your body needs to be really alive and balanced. It's balancing mine. Normally my body is balanced, off balance in the front, and now it's becoming more in balance because the front of it is moving farther and closer to the back of me. That makes sense? I am a little stoned because I smoked pot in front of the courthouse. Crazy. I'm trying to remember some of my jokes here. You know, I smoke a lot of pot. I really do. I smoke so much pot that I can't remember jokes.
What about a dirty bird queen on your birthday?
Oh, yeah. You know, pot, they say it makes you paranoid. I say it makes you realize that the government's out to get you. You know? It does make you a little paranoid. One time, I remember Thanksgiving dinner, I was smoking some pot. I just finished Thanksgiving dinner. And I rolled up this big fat joint out of this killer green bud that my mom had gotten for me. And I'm hitting it, you know, take 2 or 3 hits, and I'm getting stoned. And I started feeling like I'm being watched. I looked around, and everybody at Wendy's is staring at me. It's like it's not a normal thing for a person to do. But that's what I'm here for. I came down here to tell everybody about the cure for cancer. We have the movie up here. It's free. You know, there's not many people here. Take 2 or 3 of them. Pass them out. Everybody knows someone with cancer. Everybody knows someone who's doomed. But they're no longer doomed. Marijuana will save your life. Nobody has to die from cancer anymore. Because marijuana is the answer to cancer. It will cure AIDS. I said it right here. It cures AIDS, hepatitis C. It cures stuff I forgot. I think I'm about done here. I can't think of anything else I'd like to say. Can you think of anything? What do I normally say? Let go. I know. Let go of the mic. Let go of the microphone.
Don't worry about it.
Let go of my ego.
Just lighten up. Have fun.
Oh, light up.
Have fun.
Forgot about that. I don't have any rolled. Now listen, we've got to legalize this stuff because I don't want to get busted when I'm driving home.
You should
Right?
be. Why give them $1,500 and they can tax us and cost less?
There you go. We should charge $50 an ounce for pot, $50 tax, and then that tax should be going into growing more pot, right? That's right. Now, I want to let everybody know, if you watch this movie, you'll find this out, but if you've got a mole or a wart and you put a drop of hash oil, put a Band-Aid on it, it's gone in 7 days. If you got skin cancer on your head, smear hash oil all over your head, it's gone in 7 days. It's the answer to cancer, man. That's all I can say. Who's next?
Thank you, Reverend.
You know, he was kind of making a joke about things, but I'm going to tell you, President Obama does know, because a little over a year ago, our federal government, in an attempt to prove that marijuana caused lung cancer, had a study done. But when the results of that study came back, it proved that not only did it not cause lung cancer, but it actually killed precancerous cells in the lungs. So they do know it. It was a government's own study, and they do know the results. They do know it. And I think, we have to be happy with baby steps sometimes. I've been doing this for about 11 years. And now, compared to what it was 11 years ago, I can see that we've really made strides. And even though at the time it felt like things were moving along at a glacial pace, we have made strides. And I can see that we, number one, changed public opinion, which is always the first step. Social change doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process. And you have to first change public opinion. So the public opinion has been changed. People are a lot more aware and more knowledgeable about this plant. The thing is, this plant is not just harmless. It's beneficial. And it's beneficial to a lot of people that are just really suffering and dying because they don't know. And aside from the ignorance that they don't know, the other part is a lot of them are too afraid to. We had an incident in our own family where my husband's mother, she died of liver cancer here about 5 years ago. She did 18 months of chemotherapy, and we begged her. We said, look, please try it. She wouldn't try it because they're so indoctrinated and so frightened, that people are literally dying to keep from breaking the law. And, to me, that's very sad. That is very sad. And, it's just like, maybe you smoke pot recreationally, which is fine too. I've got no problem with any of it. But the thing you need to understand is that you need to learn about the medical applications of this plant, because it may not apply to you, but at any time, a friend or family member could get cancer or any number of diseases that this plant helps. And so you need to educate yourself and those around you who, for whatever reason, were too busy, apathetic / paranoid to come out today. You need to spread this message of the medical end of marijuana, because it could really save your family members or a loved one's life at some point. And if you're not knowledgeable, then you can't help them, because you have to be able to know this before you can pass the knowledge on to them. So you need to learn, and we need to also understand that we've got a hemp bill going to be introduced this summer. It's already actually been introduced, so we'll be heard this summer. Senate Bill 131. And also we're trying to get a medical marijuana bill passed in Kentucky. So you need to show support. You need to go online. I know almost everybody's online now. Go online. You can get, the district representative for where you're at, and go online and show, write them letters and ask them to support any legislation that comes across their desk for medical marijuana and industrial hemp. I think that the more we show these politicians, a lot of them are so afraid to go out on a limb and discuss anything controversial. And I think the best way we can change our laws is to show support to them so that they know that we're going to back them up when they do. We do find somebody that's got this testicular fortitude to actually introduce a bill like this. They will know, I have to because it's falling, they will know that we'll support them, you know, and they need to know that. They need to know that they're going to have our support. It keeps falling down. Hang on a minute. Having a little technical difficulties here, sorry. I'm going to try to get another speaker up here real quick. Okay, I talked to you a little bit about industrial hemp, but I left this wide open because I want you to hear it from the expert. We have a gentleman here, Craig Lee. He runs the Kentucky Hemp and Flax Museum, and he is the guy to go to if you want to know about industrial hemp. And we're very privileged and proud to have him drive up here almost 3 hours away to be here today to talk to you about this issue. So I'd like to welcome my friend Craig Lee to the stage. Craig?
Thank you, Cher. Thank you. Hey, it's good to be here. It's good to be here today to talk to the people that's here about industrial hemp and what's going on in the state of Kentucky. I think, first of all, it hasn't been brought up here today, but the battle over marijuana is just about over with on the federal level because Eric Holder, the United States Attorney General, has turned over jurisdiction, and they're waiting on policies to be written, and they're turning them over to the states. So this little battle that we've all fought, and all these marches that Cher and people's put on, the people in Cincinnati, Hemp Rock, Seattle Hemp Fest, all these festivals that's gone on for the past 30 years, since the 60s, have taken a hold. Since the U.S. Attorney General has turned jurisdiction over to the states, then now it is us on the state level that needs to take a hold of our politicians and get them on board of this issue. And it's a shame, but this day and time, that the reason why that they're mainly for the issue now and it's being discussed behind the scenes is for the simple reason of taxation. You know, it's not necessarily the right thing to do in the politicians' eyes, but it is the taxable thing to do. And as long as they can make money at something, they will always try to keep something illegal or something else illegal or legal to make taxes from. So it's not necessarily that our politicians are looking at this as the right thing to do, it's the taxable thing to do. So I'm involved in the Kentucky Industrial Hemp Commission here in the state that was set up after a bill was passed in 2001. And this bill lets us grow industrial hemp once the federal government genuflexes to the state's jurisdictions. So since they have genuflexed and trying to get their policies, then we're trying to get this commission aligned. And I say we, it's me and one other on a 17-member commission. And the commission consists of the senator of the president of the Senate, the Senate Ag Chairman, the House Ag Chairman, the Speaker of the House. They all sit up on this Kentucky Industrial Hemp Board. The Kentucky State Police, the Kentucky Sheriff's Association, University of Kentucky, and this bill that was passed in 2001 to grow industrial hemp here in the state legally has not been acted upon illegally because the Hemp Commission is violating the law by not meeting. And we're supposed to have met every quarter. We're supposed to have had minutes set up and show to the people that this legislation or this commission was working. And up until the last 3 months, we have now brought it to light that this commission does exist, and there is people saying it is in violation that we're not meeting. So these people that's passing laws against us are violating the laws that are passed by the people and by their own legislative body that they're not acting upon. So how can we sit here and have a state
that has members like the Sheriff's Department, the Kentucky Sheriff's Association, the Kentucky State Police, the Governor's Office of Ag Policy, a President of the Senate, and it just goes on, 17 members, and they're in violation of the law by not acting upon this commission. This is startling to me, you know. I mean, really, what few people know about this and what people will understand is what I'm telling you is the truth. You can go to the internet and check it. So as Cher was talking earlier, Senate Bill 131 was a bill that we were introducing, and we were introducing it trying to enhance the hemp commission that was already set up in 2001 from House Bill 100. So, you know, it's topsy-turvy. You know, we're sitting out here thinking we're violating the law in some aspects, talking about medical marijuana or industrial hemp, when the very people that's passing the laws are in violation of the law by not acting upon the things that the people's passed to do. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out which part of this damn tennis match I'm in. Am I in your court or am I in this court? Or am I just a ball going over the net? So in this society that we live in, you know, trying to find out what's right and where do we stand, you know, it's really ridiculous. But the hemp commission, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to find some university, and I think we found one, which we can't mention, that may take it upon themselves within the next year to do some variety trials here in the state of Kentucky. If we can do these variety trials and get these set up with this, with the commission behind it, with the state police behind it, with all the people that the commission has set forth, then we may be able to do something on the hemp industry in the state of Kentucky within the next couple of years. The problem is we have all this research money that's coming in on renewable fuels from the hierarchy on renewable energy and the so-called green economy. Well, as we're starting to grow green, everybody's saying, well, what's in it for me? And they're leaving basically the farmer out of it. You can't grow green, you can't go green if everybody in the middle has left the farmer out and there's no profit in it for him. The green economy, renewable energy is all a joke. It's a joke. I'm all for green economy. I'm all for renewable energy, but when it gets right down to it, Governor, when it gets right down, guys, all you people that's there doing this, it is no good. I mean, the farmer has got to make a profit on this or it's to the wayside. You know, I mean, we can sit here and talk about everything that we want to. We can push the issue, but the farmer has got to make some money. And to grow a crop like switchgrass and move down the road with it and think we've got something. The only reason why we're doing switchgrass, like I told them in Frankfurt when I was lobbying up there for our Senate Bill 131, is the only reason why we're doing switchgrass. It's simple. That's where the research dollars is at. We're going to follow the research dollars. I told one state representative up there, I said, you know, what about canals? I said, the University of Kentucky researched canals. I said, the only reason why we're not doing canal is for the simple reason all the money that's been handed down through the legislature is gone. All the research dollars for canal is gone. But it's a crop that we could grow here in the state. We've done it here in the state. We spent millions of dollars researching it here at University of Kentucky, but nobody's bringing it up because there's no research dollars. So what? We're going to research it, switchgrass, and we're going to research it until the money's gone out of it or we figure it's not working. It's like chasing the dice on a crap table. You know, we just keep throwing them, hoping we hit the big lick when we're throwing away a little bit of money as we go down the road. You know, I hear these figures like $7 million, $20 million, $40 million for research, like drilling a hole down here, putting carbon dioxide in it. My God, people, for $500,000 or $1 million, we can have an oil pressing facility here. We can be pressing seed oil from the hemp plant, and we can be producing biodiesel fuel here in 120 days and build the building that's going to press the oil for $1 million. And they're sitting here throwing this money away, drilling deep holes. You know, I mean, it's a sinkhole. We're building a sinkhole to throw dollars in that we don't even know down the future what's going to happen to the planet or to the state. You know, and they're talking about doing it here just a couple of hours up the road. carbon dioxide holding place. And it's all because there's research dollars going toward it. That's all it's about. The government here and big industry are chasing the research dollars. The hemp industry, or the commission that's set up by the state, it can take private funding. It can take money from any source, and it can go into it. And I just wondered, and I was talking to people the other day about raising some money, and we're really thinking about it, but our goal is to get $10,000 and then see if we can get it matched by some other entity that feels good about the hemp industry in Kentucky, and being able to fund the state commission, and then asking for government funding through the government's Office of Ag Policy to match the funds that we put in there from the private funds to get this thing accelerated. It's really interesting that we can do this. At the same time, we have all these members that's on the commission that don't want to act and be criminals and non-law-abiding citizens after they swore the oath to uphold the office of their job, and they're not, So we're back to this square one again. What can we do? And so with the meetings that I've had with some of the legislatures and some of the people out of the governor's office, and we've got several steps to go through, and I'm hoping that we don't have to go through the third or fourth step, because if it does, it's probably going to end up nasty. And, the thing about it is, the whole deal, it doesn't have to end up nasty. It's because people aren't getting educated enough. They want to talk about biofuels, but when you lay a program out in front of them where the farmer can benefit, they don't want to hear it. If the farmer can benefit from coal energy that's coming out of eastern Kentucky to burn with switchgrass and East Kentucky power for a fuel, that's fine, if they can profit from it. But I think down the long term, this is going to be about a 2 or 3 year deal that they're talking about, and I got a feeling down the long term the farmer's going to say, what's in it for me? So that kills that program. We're just going to keep on chasing the research dollar until the research dollar comes out for hemp, or somebody just grows it. If we watch the policies of the federal government, that it was stated by the Eric Holder that the states will not the federal government will not interfere unless state people break state law on raising hemp or marijuana. So hemp being defined the way that it is, there is some little vague window there that we can start growing hemp today in the state of Kentucky and get by with it, period. It's just the idea that we've got this commission set up and we're able to maybe grow the crop here because the feds have stepped back. One of the things that's not being looked at is getting the seed stock here, the germ plasma, to grow here in the state of Kentucky, because now we have to get the seed through customs. So if it's not one barrier, it's another. And the only way we can possibly get it through customs without any big problem is the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, Richie Farmer, stand up, because he's on this commission. If he wants to grow something other than basketballs, Ed Whitfield, Louis Nunn told me, he said he couldn't figure out, and I worked hard with Louis. Me and Louis traveled all over this United States, all across the state. And Louis said he could not figure out why the Republican Party, with Ed Whitfield and Hal Rogers and them, couldn't get on board with this. This is too damn simple. He said, boys, you're going to make asses out of yourselves. And I'm not calling you that. I'm just sitting here because I run with Governor Nunn, and Louis Nunn told me, he said, Craig, he said, I'd like to see this crop grown before I die, but he said, I'm afraid I won't, and I can see the reasons why that he hasn't been able to see it. And he did too. And we're down here in Ed Whitfield's district. Ed, you're smarter than this. All you guys, because we have a hemp commission here, you should get on. You should get on House Resolution Bill 1866 that's being sponsored by Ron Paul, and got about 12 or 15 other co-sponsors. And the only thing we ask as the commission and as a people from the state of Kentucky, show us Mitch McConnell, show us Ed Whitfield, show us Hal Rogers, show us Jeff Davis, John Yarmouth, show us that we are in a democracy, because the governor signed the bill, Paul Patton, in 2001, and when a group of people in two houses, your House of Representatives, 66%, a majority, and your Senate, 23%, which is a majority in 2001, passed this bill, and you legislatures on board failed to let a democracy work in Kentucky and sat back on your thumbs and did nothing to push the DEA out of the way. Now that DEA is out of the way and you guys are free to stand up, you're running backwards. You're running backwards because you're afraid. And I don't know what you're afraid of, but there's one thing about it. You are legislatures, and I tell you what, as a veteran, don't send one more veteran to Iraq for foreign oil when we've got it right here. You hear me, gentlemen? We are people that are going to vote and put you out of office. We are going to work our asses off to get you out of office if you don't stand up on this issue, because now it's a state's rights and you ought to be behind it 100%. As all veterans, and speaking from this park here with veterans memorials all around, we have sent troops overseas for foreign oil for the last time, and you guys need to get up off your high horses and be for this crop that pulled us through World War II, that pulled us through Korea, that can pull us out of this mess of foreign oil. And let's get busy, guys. We've got a commission here that's set up that's got good people on it, and you all are good people. You just need to get educated and stand up for something that you believe is right. Thank you very much.
Introduce myself to you like I introduced myself to the probation department in Washington State. They busted me for growing marijuana. I had 24 plants. I use it for medical reasons. I didn't know all about it until I got into this situation of having myself needing it. I was busted at Washington State by the police department 3 times. First time for growing 24 plants. Second time for growing 142 plants. My sister turned me in. And the third time, I said, blow it off. I imported 20 kilos of it from Switzerland and told the government in 4 faxes, one from Washington State, one from Texas, one from Ohio, and one from Switzerland, that I was going to get it and I was going to sell it for $1 a gram as a humanitarian caregiver. Yeah! They delivered it to me, FedEx of course, and the police department busted me. Then all hell broke loose. Federal government ran like scalded dogs. They didn't want no part of it. Yeah. You see, I was the executive of Swiss businesses legal in Switzerland. And per the GATT Treaty of 1948, anything that's legal in the country, one country, can be sold in any country, whether it's legal or illegal. The federal government signed it in 1948. I was the executive of a Swiss business, and it was legal there. I was fully legal. Federal government hauled ass. They didn't want no part of that one. They told Washington State, you got it. Don't let them take it to court. Throw the fifth the state of Washington life imprisonment. They told me I couldn't take it to court. I had to plea bargain it. For years probation, no jail time. I said, okay, I've been guilty. So I was guilty of manufacturing, guilty for possession, hung jury on distribution. Anyway,
I was wondering if I gave you
they made my sentencing date, I started my prohibition a year later. A year's prohibition, no jail time. So I started my prohibition in October. Took my piss test in October, November, and in December I introduced myself to my probation officer like I will introduce myself to you now. I said, hello, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Jess Williams, a human being. I'm Fat Freddy Freak, a spirit of God. Here's my copyright. I said, now, I've talked to myself 3 times since in 56 years of my life. They said, 3 times you have somebody talk to your mind now? I said, yeah, it happened 3 times in 56 years. The 3rd time it happened, I was freaked out the 1st, 2nd time. The 3rd time it happened, I said a little bit more used to it. It said, God will make you live.
You will start the millennium. You will do the will of God. Immediately, my human mind said, okay, God, if you're going to make me live, I make covenant with you. I won't smoke any marijuana, break any laws until you make me live. Therefore, as my probation officer, you can piss test me every month, and I'll pass every piss test you give me until God makes me live. Fat Freddy, cartoon book character, he's going to get fucked up. Probation officer says, if you get fucked up, we'll throw you in jail. I said, that's the best news I've heard all day. Now, you'll have the same choice to make Pontius Pilate made, Nan's way or God's. You can piss test Jess Williams and I'll pass your piss test until God makes you live. Fat Freddy will do it, he'll fail. Therefore, if you throw me in jail for smoking marijuana, you throw Fat Freddy in jail. You're going to piss him off. He's going to shove the wrath of God up your ass. Just talk to my little brother. Do the will of God. Good luck. Go for it.
You haven't stopped yet, have you? Shoving it up their ass.
So here we are, out here fighting a war on drugs. That's the problem. Everybody that fights this war on drugs wants to be a leader. Well, that's great. Be a leader. But also, join the club. Don't fight anybody else that's fighting for it. Join with them. Reverend Mary, dynamite lady. Ronnie, Thor, dynamite person. But we had crossways one time, and hey, but you gotta love everybody. You can't hate. That's part of the whole program. We are into marijuana because marijuana causes your love. That's what I found out. I'm glad I found it out. I worked with smoking it for years. And then found out through Rick Simpson that eating it in the oil form is a full cure for all things. Cancer, everything. Eat it. Get the oil. Learn how to make it. Go on the web and look up Rick Simpson. PhoenixTearsMovie.com. Very easy to find. And learn how to make your own oil. Make your oil. Pass it out to people that have cancer. We've cured over 100 people, well over 100 people already from terminal cancer. People that were dying. We had one lady in Florida. She called us up and said, my husband has has cancer of the rectum. He has cancer, leukemia. He can't eat. He can't go to the bathroom, nothing. How do I get it to him? Well, Rick Simpson, like he told her, Rick Simpson makes a suppository and shoved up his ass. She did. 2 weeks after she started doing that, the man was up walking and talking and all of his cancer was gone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, people that hear me, understand something. Smoking marijuana will lower 10%. But if you get the oil and eat it 3 times a day for 90 days, it will cure 80% of all drugs we have available to us. You have to do it. You have to spread the word. If you wish to have a video here at this function, come over, we'll give you one. We don't, this stuff all costs money. And I'm living on Social Security checks. But if I have to fight the war on drugs, I'll do it God's way. And by doing it the will of God, the money is provided. It comes my way when I need it. And you have to have, you're here on earth for one reason and one reason only, to get yourself 100% pure faith. Learn who the God is within you. I'm Fat Freddy. You can be anything else you want to be. God appears to each one of us. We recognize that God within you. Bring him to life. Understand where you're going to go when all this is over with. You're going to go to the celestial kingdom. You're going to go spiritually home. You're not going to come back to earth as another human being. You're going to go forward. Jesus of Nazareth, Christ Michael, he came from the center of the universe all the way back to earth before he finished his full course. He couldn't see the Father in heaven till he finished earth. That's why he was crucified. But in finishing earth, he completed his full round. He was the yin. We are the yang. We go opposite the way he came down. We have to choose to go forward. We have to want to go home. So let's all get together and work on this the best we can. Be religious. Hey, man, that's all there is, your own personal faith. You have to create it yourself. And only you can do it. No other person can but you. I hope this situation turns out good for all of us. Because healing is the only thing we can do. And all we can do is use God's gift to heal with. Use the oil. Put the words out. And thank you all very much.
All right. It's just like Jess said, we can all disagree about a number of issues. We might not agree about abortion. We may not agree about gun control. We may not agree about homosexuality and gay marriage. But this is where we come together, all of us. We come together on this one issue, that cannabis sativa plant, or marijuana, the slang word that was used on the Mexicans and the blacks throughout history, to Joe, what is it, Crow law, is that what it's called? But it was used to slander people. And it was used to identify someone who is not Joe Clean America, you know, this Mr. Joe Camel smoking John Wayne. So we're really glad that all of us will come together and stand for this issue, because the importance of the industrial hemp and the medical marijuana is something that we hold dear to our heart. And that's what I learned about this whole thing. It wasn't that marijuana was so great. It was that we've been lied about pretty much everything that we've been taught in our schools and in our churches. So that we have to free our minds and understand that we have the right to think for ourselves and to put what we want into our bodies to heal ourselves. And that, when I learned that, that's what freedom is. That's what freedom means to me. And I didn't know that. I had been in the infantry. I was prepared to die. I still didn't know what the freedom meant, what it means to be free and to be an American. God bless us all. And speaking of true Americans, here comes one of my favorite American heroes, Mr. Craig Lee. Talk about the industrial use of hemp. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm back up here. You know, Brian wanted me to talk to you about a little bit about biodiesel fuel and cellulose from ethanol, which the hemp plant can offer. You know, we talk about medical marijuana. Medical marijuana is a great thing, but it's just like aspirin. It's just like ibuprofen. It's just like any other medicine. Is that the medicine for you? It might not be the medicine for this person over here.
Right.
So we all have different medicines. We all have different prescriptions. We all have different drugs for different things that ail us. But there's one thing about it. I'm not going to hesitate where I get the fuel at for my car, whether it's made from hemp oil, fossil fuel, or whatever, to propel my vehicle down the road. So what we were looking at for the Hemp Commission, and one reason why I'm out here today, because I laid dormant for about 3 or 4 years and letting the politicians wait till they come to their senses before I could step back up and be for this crop and come out again as an activist and get some things lined up behind the scenes to get things orchestrated, because biofuels is where it's at. Cellulose for ethanol is where it's at for the future, and it doesn't matter where we at or how you feel about this. When ethanol is made from hemp, I'm sure, or biodiesel made from biofuels made from hemp oil, I'm sure that some person out here that's not for this crop and never has been and never will be, as I've heard some smart, intelligent people say that, said if hemp did work, I wouldn't be for it. And they're out of the University of Louisville up here, you know. And so this is the problem that they are going to have living in denial, and that is the fact that they're going to have to burn gas one of these days, ethanol from hemp. And when it does, I want us all laugh while we're going to the bank, because these people right here are living in denial. And we can't have leaders living in denial. You know, I was in Vietnam. I know what it's like. We're going to maybe go in and get the enemy. You know, we're going to maybe go in, you know. They're not there, but we might find them out there, you know. Well, you can't do this. You know, these politicians running around here want to send everybody to do something that they don't want to do. Then when it comes time for them to do it, they don't want to do that either. Well, what the hell are y'all about? So biofuels is one of them that they can't run from. They can run backwards on the medical marijuana issue somewhat, but that's coming too. But when it comes down to industrial hemp, and they're out here speaking about alternative fuels and renewable energy, and then when you lay hemp in front of them and tell them biodiesel within 120 days, that we can have biodiesel flowing, we can have these things, then you're starting the education process and you're filling them in on what they're talking to you about. And there's nothing any better on this issue today, people, than listening to the politicians talk about renewable fuels and renewable energy, and then you hit them with the left cross talking about industrial hemp and knowing what you're talking about. And knowing what you're talking about to any of these people is a great thing. But running our vehicles on it is going to be a thing of the future, and biodiesel and ethanol for fuel is not in this state to the magnitude it needs to be. We have a governor that says this state's going to be #1 in renewable fuels. How? How can you be first in renewable fuels when you're not picking up from the grassroots? You can't start in the middle of anything and go up with it. It has to include everybody. And these fuels that they're doing, it's just like the coal industry. They left out the people up there in the mountains. They've left them out. They have given their lives for the coal industry. They have died in deep mines, mining coal for East Kentucky Power, while they jump over here and want to burn switchgrass with it. That's okay if it works. But there's also other things out here that works. We need to try them all, each and every one of them. I'm part of a group that I didn't mention a while ago, and it's Bio-Industrial Development Council. It's a non-profit. And we're coming together in a real subtle way to bring back these issues that I'm talking about. And we've got a very powerful council. I'm not mentioning none of the people that's on the council, but you'll hear about us in the future, near future. And what we're doing is we're going to go behind the scenes and get the industry that's going to come in here and take these biofuels and set up the infrastructure for these crops. And, you know, the thing about it is, we can, if we were growing hemp here today and was planting it today, then all of us sitting out here today has an opportunity, the first time in our lives, and this is the part that gets me. Where's everybody at? This is the first time in our lives that we've had a chance in this country, and I've heard it talked about all my life, that we can grow fuel for ourselves. But where's everybody at? They don't have an understanding of it. They're waiting for somebody else to take a hold and tell them what to do. Well, in this situation, we need to grab a hold of it and tell them what to do on this issue of industrial hemp, and let them live in denial. Let them let them be faced with the truth and have to draw back like the politicians are. Biodiesel, cellulose for ethanol. These are big things. And one thing that industrial hemp adds that no other one adds, that's been controversial from the word go, and that is corn for ethanol. Corn for ethanol took food out of the food chain. Growing hemp for ethanol adds food to the food chain, because we're not making any products in this country from food except on a small niche scale. You know, if potato chip, Frito-Lay, some of these big companies was to come around and make a corn chip or a Frito from hemp seed, be a great thing. And using the oil for our fuels and for our industry. So we're offering something that no other plant has to offer, and that's a food source, a biodiesel source from the seed, and a base for cellulose for ethanol. And this is why it's crucial. Some of you young people that's here today, this is wide open for you guys. My God, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars coming down. I'm 56 years old. I'm retired. What I'm sitting here talking to you about is what I'm trying to orchestrate. I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm looking for students out of UK. I found a guy up there the other day just walking down the street, UK, seed breeder. I said, hey, would you like to have some information? Yes. I said, I'll send you all the information I can. This is what's happening. This is what's going to happen. I said, I'll keep you filled in. Great. He fell in love with it. I said, this gives you a heads up on what's coming down the pike that nobody else has got that's involved in it. You can learn this. Get on the internet, breed, go into biodiesel, Montana, any of these oil seed producing states, and read what universities have done. Not what I said, not what he said or you said or they said. Go to the universities. Go to these universities who's done research in oil seed production and pressing oil, and you'll become a more knowledgeable person about what's coming down the pike and being ready for it. Because industrial hemp will work for the simple reason that it'll make money for the farmers. The other crops that's laid out here that they're trying to work with in this state, switchgrass, miscanthus, and all these other grasses, they're all right. But they're not going to produce the amount of money back to the land per capita that the farmer needs. So if you can stand as a young people and work with the farmer and educate them, know a farmer, and be able to talk to him, then this is a big plus for you. Because without the farmer, all this other is bull. So throughout my years of being an activist on this, is I have positioned myself with the farmer for the simple reason the industry is going to have to work with the farmer. So if I'm standing in the middle, some money's got to rub off if that's what you're after. It's got to rub off because you're standing in the middle. You are the knowledge base. Build yourself up as a knowledge base. Let the politicians run off in denial. Let them run off. They're going to have to come to you and ask you the questions. It's nice sitting at home now, and I get calls from the governor's office and saying, hey, will you come down and have a meeting with us next Wednesday over this issue? And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. But there's nothing material that's taking place. So as young people and as people that's got innovative minds, step up to the plate. Talk to this. Talk about renewable fuel because it's wide open. Don't look at it as it's being intimidated because there's no such thing as intimidation. Intimidation is laid out between me and you. And I can intimidate you and walk up to you and intimidate you. You know why? It's because I was taught to do that. As an Army personnel, I was taught to do that. These officers are taught to you do that. And you feel intimidated without being intimidated just by going to the courthouse and getting your license. Don't do that. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel intimidated. Throw the feelings of intimidation that you have outward, that you feel about being intimidated, throw them toward them people. Let them feel intimidated about you. And you can do it with the right vibes, with the right spirit, with the right power, with the right thought, knowledge base. You know, you can be who you want to be anytime you want to be. And Freddie said it the best, you know yourself. You know, and working with the Indians on Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, Alex White Plume, and hopefully I can go back out there this next year or in June. And these people have fought the federal government. The government has tried to intimidate them. They're not to be intimidated. And I learned through these people a lot about the intimidation fact, the spirit fact. Where does this lay at? Not living in denial, not being those emotional things of crying and feeling intimidated, you know. And when an officer walks up to your car, even if he pulls you over in a roadblock, you feel intimidated. Don't, because if you're intimidated, he senses it right off. And if you're not intimidated, you look at his name and say, hey, Officer Johnson, how are you doing? No, I don't have any weed in my car. Why? He said, well, I smell something. It's a fart I just let, you know. I mean, if he wants to smell something that bad, give him an excuse to smell whatever you want him to smell, you know. I mean, really. I mean, you know, if whatever he wants to smell, let him smell it. If he says he smells something, say sure, and whatever you want to smell, you mention it. It's only the power of suggestion. You know, because he's using the power of suggestion that you're doing something wrong. You'd use the power of suggestion that you're not. Now we've got a debate here, you know. So, and this whole thing about industrial hemp and the medical marijuana issue is all about the same thing. Get educated, stand up and talk to them, you know, and go forward. But biodiesel, cellulose for ethanol, medical marijuana, these things are coming to this state, you know, and I think our good friend Gatewood Galbraith is working on legislation to try to put in for the medical marijuana thing in the state. I've talked to him the last couple of weeks, and he's working on some things like that, and there's been several people contacting from the governor's office, and so the industrial hemp thing, it's happening, the medical marijuana thing, it's in the making. So, you know.
What's the difference between marijuana and, say, industrial hemp, and how can it be used?
Okay.
I never heard you
Okay. Very few people, you know, medical marijuana is used, and the only thing it is it's the female side of the plant. The male is dominant. The male is dominant, and so in the medical marijuana side, the only thing you want is the female. On the industrial hemp side, you want everything, the male and the female. But if you in the growing season of industrial hemp, you have a section in there where the male comes out and pollinates the female because the crops are so big. And when the male pollinates the male dies off. And so you have a cycle there where the female starts to make seed. And because she was bred by the male, it doesn't matter if we start out here with good Amsterdam seed on this hemp field. It doesn't make any difference, folks. You get that out of your sense. If you plant 1,000 seed out there, and they're from Amsterdam, and they're supposed to be the highest grade marijuana seed that there is, well, you let them grow, and you let the males cross-pollinate the female, and you're on a downhill drag after that, because the male is the dominant plant of the species. And it doesn't matter how it is, the male, you can't get high off of it, so the cross-pollination, that's one reason females stay in there. And the industrial hemp side of it, we're not worried about the males. We're not worried about all that stuff. The males will die after the females have been pollinated, and then you grow the crop and you make certified. What we're looking for is certified seed. But the differences is the seed varieties and the way the plants grow. For marijuana purposes, it's grown in a lot bigger area. I know that a lot of people wants to preach hydroponics and wants to preach organic because they're growing indoors, because that's the way to hide from the law. But that's not medical marijuana, folks. I don't give a daggone what you say. That is not the medicine. That is not the medicine that people's been proposing for the last 40 years. Some of them that way. It is not the medicine. The true medicine from cannabis for medical use is grown outside. You have more cannabinoids, you have more sunlight, and the plant is a lot more medicinal for you growing outside and picking up all those cannabinoids that the sun yields the plant and from the natural growth, from the natural earth. Growing things from water, you know, the only thing you're going to get is just what the water and what little bit of light produces in your genetics of seed. Because the cannabinoids is way more important, you know. There was a war fought, and I won't go into detail about this. It was fought in the 1800s between Britain and some Indians in Africa. And they went back it was after about 150 years, and wondered what happened in this battle. There was like 1,800 soldiers that had weapons, and these natives who didn't have nothing but bows and arrows. And this guy that was doing the research found out that some of the medicine that some of these guys were taking had a cannabinoid base. Well, there's not but one place that basically cannabinoids come from, and that's from marijuana. And they was making this gruel and was taking it, and they was hallucinating. And when they ran toward the British soldiers that they set up their line, they fired, and the way that they felt is when the bullet hit them, their spirit went on and fought the battle. Even though their body died, they just went on. And when they charged down over this hill, when they stood and shot them, they just kept on going. And their body just traveled because that's what their mind was set on. You know, it's just like shooting a squirrel that's about to jump. The last thing that squirrel will do will jump. The last thing you will do if you're getting off of a cliff and you're shot to death, you'll jump off the cliff because your muscles are in that. Then once death hits you, you spring into it. Their mind was set, we're going after them people, and they was running down the hill, and then when they shot, their body just went on through, regardless whether they were dead or not. And this was just some of the witch doctors that he talked to was like 90 years old, you know. They went into the jungle and got all these guys and talked to them about this. So cannabis goes back, you know, a long, long way. And it's the oldest medicine on the planet. You know, and hemp is one of the oldest natural crops for rope, you know, Hebrew cloth. You know, they Hebrew cloth, what was it made of, you know, really? You know, what was Jesus wrapped in? It wasn't silk, folks, you know, it wasn't silk. So, you know, it was either, it had to be one of 4 things, and I'll tell you this right now: jute, sisal, hemp. It'd be jute, sisal, or hemp, or flax. Those 4. Those are the old fiber crops. I can tell you this right now: it was not cotton. You know, Hebrew cloth was not cotton. So, you know, my question always was, what was Jesus wrapped up in? You know, so this goes back to medicine. It goes back all the way back to you know. Even in modern day time, 1935, here in the state of Kentucky, Carroll's revised statutes outlawed the sale of medical marijuana in the state. You can find this information that's out there. And so we outlawed it, and it was Cannabis Americanus. But at the same time, in 1935, we outlawed medical marijuana as a prescription. And believe me, everybody was prescribed it. Everybody had a license according to the law. So at that time, we were growing hemp out in the fields. You know, they were outlawing medical marijuana to be prescribed in 1935, but his agricultural reports show that in 1935 we was growing about 600 to 1,000 acres of hemp here in this state. So what is the difference? The difference has already been laid out there. It was throughout time that they mixed the two together because they had the power to do it. Just like they had the power to break us, you know. The same people that outlawed industrial hemp and outlawed medical marijuana is the same people that's robbing us today. The ideology lives on. You know, it's whether you want to believe it or not. You know, that doesn't make any difference with me. You know, there's people that have a full-fledged vision of the world, and there's people that don't. But all in all, is we do have 2 distinctive things, and there are some people that's talked to me about writing bills up and different things here in the state and regulation. And I said, whatever we do in this state, we want to keep hemp here and medical marijuana here. It doesn't matter how they're written, because what's happened now is they've looped the 2 together, and we can't do nothing with either. You know, so we do not want to repeat history as we're trying to, you know, in a medical marijuana bill, we don't want a daggone thing said about hemp in it. And in a hemp bill, we don't want anything said about marijuana, because they are different, and we all know it's different. It's those that's getting educated that's now finding out that, hey, there is a difference. Of course, they've known it the whole time. It's just the idea. I think a few's tired of living in denial and said, we've lied about this long enough. I can't lie no longer. So let's humble ourselves to the populace, and let's grow the crop. And meanwhile, let's try to find out a way to set up martial law. So, you know, I don't know where we stand here, but thank you all very much, and I hope you have a good day. Yeah.
Well, that's Craig Lee at Hemp Museum. He brought a brake with him last time, and he showed us how they used to make hemp into rope and fiber for the Constitution. I guess all the sales for the U.S. Constitution were made from hemp. The oakum that was used. The applications for industrial hemp go way, way deep into our history of the state. All the roads that were built in Kentucky and Versailles were built for the production of hemp, for the effort in the war, the Revolutionary War, the big one. I'm really proud to bring up my favorite little speaker of all time, because she's got some beautiful poems that she wrote about hemp and her feelings of medical marijuana. Thank you. All right, I think we're about ready to wrap it up, but we can't go without recognizing the people that have gone before us. Like you said, a lot of these patients have died, and we feel that if you're withholding someone's medicine who's terminally ill, that's the same as putting a gun to them. I mean, and that's death at the hands of the government. We had a friend of ours that passed away this year because he was denied a kidney because he smoked marijuana. Mr. John Hartman out of Cleveland, Ohio, for Ohio North Coast. And when you let people like that die simply because they choose to put something in their body that they feel is going to benefit them for health, and that's all you got against them? Isn't that genocide? Isn't that some type of religious war you've got going on there? We recognize it as such. As a veteran of the U.S. military, I'm standing here before you to tell you that, you know, marijuana was used in Vietnam It was given to the soldiers by our own government that was bringing it from Cambodia. They brought it in there and they wanted to experiment with the soldiers to see what the reactionary time was after they were stoned. And they found out that the soldiers responded well after a firefight and could be ready for the enemy, and they would do things like get their ammo ready for the next wave. Sometimes there'd be 3 waves of the enemy coming through, and people would be in shock, and there'd be all the kinds of horror and things to witness. And cannabis was what helped a person calm down immediately. It was such a noticeable change. And many of our Vietnam soldiers came back from Nam asking for cannabis as a medicine and were denied it because Vietnam was not considered an actual war and they were not entitled to actual war benefits. So when I first got involved, after I got out of the infantry and found out that cannabis patients were being denied medicine and people were dying, that's where I got involved. I've been involved where people as young as 26 years old have been shot point blank range by the police, where they found less than a quarter ounce of marijuana. Things like this, you know, when people are gunned down or even just die, like we've had MS patients pass away, and Peter McWilliams, who wrote books on self-help, and he was a Nobel Prize winner, and he used cannabis medicine to ease the nausea, to stop his vomiting. And when he was denied the right to use cannabis, he choked to death on his own vomit and passed away within 48 hours. So we know that there's been a lot of people that have gone before us who have served our country, who were honorable men and women, who've lost. Just the tragic tragedy is the cost of the human suffering that is caused by the drug war. It's far more dangerous than anyone that ever smoked a joint. I was in Texas. We represented Kentucky, went down to Texas, and we marched to all the hardest prisons, from Huntsville prison all the way up. We went to the border of Mexico where they found bodies that had been buried, that had been people smuggling marijuana across the border. And we went up there, and we went all the way to the governor's office, the Governor Bush, he's now our president, to protest his policy on marijuana in that state. And all the time we found that there was 100 drug war orphan children in that state that we met from Tulia, Texas, that met us in the Capitol in Austin that day. 100 drug war orphaned children, where 23% of the entire town of Tulia was arrested as cocaine distributors. And this is a small town in Texas. There's nothing there but a bunch of dirt and fences and a couple old rickety shacks, not what you'd expect from a big-time cocaine dealer. So we're glad to serve all these people who have gone before us. That's where we get our courage. These people that have gone with us back to back in front of the police and in front of the governor, in front of the Texas Rangers and all of that. We've seen the battle. We go where the fighting's thick, and we're going to keep going where the fighting's thick. Because this is the American way. This is our voice, and we are the constituents. We are the people. You work for us, and we're going to get it done. God bless each and every one of you coming out today. Cher's got some closing words.
I also want to applaud everybody for coming out today and displaying your courage. And my final closing thoughts, I'd really like to just thank Hemp Rock Radio for their kind participation in our march today as well. Thank you very much. See you next year.